Hi everybody, it's Dan Tudor, and you are looking at another week of video training for selling for coaches members. Hey, it's the first weekend in December, 1 week away from our special coaches conference here in Bakersfield. Go to the website if you haven't signed up yet. We'd love to see you here in sunny California. This is a picture of the first phone call ever. A lot of attention, obviously. A lot of these important people wanted to see this new technology. Of course, this is not new technology anymore. Very commonplace way for people to interact. And it's also the source of probably one of the greatest stress points for college coaches, which is picking up the phone and calling a recruit for the first time. That's tough. That's really tough, and it's something that most of you coaches tell me you hate. You put it number one on the list as far as stuff that you would rather not do as a coach. So we want to spend some time giving some tips on how to overcome that nervousness, the stress associated with the first call, and how to make it sound great to the athletes so that there can be a second call, a third call, and so on. So the first thing when it comes to calling on the phone that I want to encourage you to do, maybe you've never thought about it before, is to smile. You're saying, well, Dan, they can't see me. Why would I want to smile? Because, Coach, studies have shown that we can tell what mood or what expression the other person has on the other end of the phone line just by hearing their voice. So by smiling, you're going to automatically up your energy level. You're going to automatically sound more positive and upbeat. And that's going to matter to the person on the other end of the line. You want that energy to flow through. It's a very simple tip and technique. I think some coaches overlook it because, number one, you don't like calling on the phone. A lot of you don't. And so you don't focus on what your expression is. So put the biggest smile on your face as possible and then talk and watch the energy level go up and watch their interaction with you go up. If you're shy and reserved and you're not smiling, your energy level goes down, just like mine is going down. When you smile, you're positive, it goes up. And that's what you want at the other end of the phone. You want them to hear that energy level that you have, that enthusiasm you have for talking to them in that phone conversation. Next point I want to make is get to the point fast. This is a phone call, your first, hopefully, mini, so don't take a lot of time with it. I'd say your first phone call should last no more than 10 minutes unless you have an athlete talking to you about a lot of stuff and asking you a lot of questions. But get to your point fast. Make it a 3 or 4 or 5 minute phone call. Let them know that there's going to be more in the future. Again, the concept of having them, leaving them wanting more, as we've talked about in these past few weeks with some of the other topics that we've touched on, it applies here as well. Get to the point fast, make it, and then end the call so that there's something to talk about and an expectation for the next call. Next thing I want to encourage you to do is try to have a little fun. Coach, if you can make them laugh, if you can insert humor into that conversation and don't take yourself so seriously, that's a great way to break the ice. Because as nervous as you are on the phone to make that first call, that athlete is usually twice as nervous to get the call. They don't know how to act. They're not really great at interacting with adults. So you need to break some of that ice, if possible, by inserting some humor and making them laugh and trying to have a little bit of fun. That's the point that you want to make, is let them have a little bit of fun with you on the phone. Break the ice and make it a great conversation going forward. Next thing I want you to do, and you're going to have to write this down with each prospect, is ask one great question. Remember those power questions that we went through back in October? Well, that would be a great question to ask. Come up with your one great question that makes them think, that gets them to stop and interact with you on a real deep level, maybe to the point where you have to ask some follow-up questions in that same phone call conversation. Don't ask the same, hey, how are you doing? How are your grades? How's your season? They've heard all that before. That's what they expect from the run-of-the-mill ordinary recruiter. I want you to go a little bit further and develop a great power question. When you do that, Coach, what you're doing is setting yourself apart from everybody else that's calling, and it's going to excite them to talk to you because at the very least, no matter what kind of facilities you have, what division level you coach at, you're going to sound different. And for many athletes, they tell me that that's what makes the difference into the recruiting process. They want a coach that's going to say something different, that looks and feels and sounds different than all the other coaches that they're talking to. Asking a great question that makes them think is a great way to have you set yourself apart from all the other coaches. This is a lot like fishing, Coach, and they're the big one. You've got to reel them in, and it's one rotation at a time. And this is a part of this. This is the beginning of it. This is when you get that first nibble and know you have somebody on the hook so that you can start reeling them in. It starts with a great phone call. That's why what you put into and develop into this phone call is so important. It's crucial. It's crucial, coach, that you approach this phone call as your one opportunity to make an impact with them. If you do, you're going to get them picking up the phone anxious to talk to you the next time. If you don't, you're going to really have a hard time, and you're going to find yourself leaving lots of messages, lots of voicemails, because they don't want to talk to you anymore. You've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. Don't let it happen anymore. Go through this training, apply the principles, and make your phone calls sound different. Last chance to sign up for our conference here in California. It's all about building a winning recruiting message. It's especially designed for coaches, and you as a premium member get a discount. So call the office, go online to register, and be a part of it. It's going to be great. Next week, more on that first phone call, part 2 of this series. We'll see you next week, and thank you again for being a premium member here at Selling for Coaches.